Hey folks, welcome back to Skyward Sword. We are here in the Fire Sanctuary, the 6th dungeon. And it's another fire dungeon. Another lava level. Kind of a bit of a disappointment, considering the diversity of levels we've had so far. But, I mean, I like it. It's still fun. In the process of playing it, I think I gained more respect for it. Anyway, first off, we have this incredibly stylish rail shooter section. You can just, like, get rid of them with your sword once you actually land, but that's much, much less stylish, so, yeah. Also, I desperately needed an arrow restock. So in that regard, maybe the stylish approach wasn't the best approach, but I don't care. Okay? Alright. Anyway, you might have noticed that there were like owl statues, and there's something of a bird motif throughout this dungeon, and I'm not sure exactly what it signifies. Like, it is up at the summit of the volcano, as opposed to, like, the base where the original temple was, except it was really more in the middle, so I don't know. So you could make an argument for that contrast, but, Anyway, there's our first key already. And you already saw the locked door that it goes to, so very simple. Straightforward so far. But before we go through the locked door, we have a conversation with a man of outrageous mustache and beard. Yeah, the Mogmas are making a return, as you might have suspected, because they are really awesome. And this is kind of their turf. One thing I really like about the whole Mogma thing is that all of them are, like, diverse in their appearance. They look very, very different from one another. Like, not just in terms of hair, but, like, their physique, etc. So it is actually kind of, like, cool. They're like people, except not. Anyway, ancient treasure hunting legend up in here. And here we have another completely not cryptic ancient legend. It bugs me in the same way that the previous legend on Skyloft bugs me, the one that's like, hey, twist the windmill. Because it's so, like, obvious and situational, and there's no moral lesson behind it. You know, it's not a very good legend. Anyway, basically the layout of the dungeon is that you'll have a bunch of internal chambers connected by these kind of external pathways. So you'll move around in the outside to get from room to room. And it's actually fairly somewhat non-linear, especially compared to many other dungeons in this game. So I did actually get lost, go to the wrong room several times, and that's actually a good thing. I'm glad that it happened. I mean, I'm not glad that it happened for the video, because, you know, I had to edit things out to make sure you didn't see my foolish mistakes, but it felt more like a dungeon, like one big puzzle, and that's something that I have complained about in the past. Anyway, we can go down there, and that's progress, but first things first, we have a chest. 20 whole rupees. At this point, 20 rupees ain't no thing. Looky there, we have some things. Anyway, here we have an introduction to kind of a weird little mechanic, or I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how I want to phrase it, because they are enemies. This giant lava hand is an enemy, and we'll see several of his kin throughout this dungeon. But they're also navigational things. Basically, you gotta stand on those platforms and they'll lift you up. But if you misplace yourself, or if the gods are against you, then he will attack you instead, basically. And we'll find one more way to deal with them in the future once we have a little more diversity in our abilities. Anyway, plenty of bokoblins here. Apparently the bokoblins have, like, taken over the sanctuary or something. Not sure what's up. Oopsie doodly. Oh, look who it is. Here we have an upgraded Dynaphos. I think he's like faster, stronger, better than before, and also he can breathe curse at you. And curse, as you may or may not know, disables your ability to use your sword or items. So you basically gotta run the hell away for the entirety of the curse. And it sucks. And there are a lot of curse enemies in this dungeon. There are curse keys, there are curse lava frogs, and there are the curse Dynaphos, as you saw there. Speaking of curse frogs, there's one right now. A couple actually, but we'll only be dealing with one. They're jerks and I hate them. Anyway, the problem here is that, as you can see, those water droplets, they create platforms, but the platform isn't moving. We need to open up the lava flow over there. You can see it's stopped up with a rock. So we gotta find a way to open that up, and then the lava will start flowing and the platform will move. But, of course, we need to get our priorities straight, which means Mr. Bug is going after these rupees. And see, there's Cursed Keys over there. If Cursed Keys didn't have such a catchy name, then I would hate them a lot more. Instead, I just despise them. Anyway, once you've grabbed all those rupees, you can send Mr. Bug over once again to grab those bombs that you might have seen, if you're paying attention. This is another one of those rooms where you can send Mr. Bug around and look around, and it's cool. Actually, one cool thing that I don't do in this video, just because, as far as I'm aware, there's no practical reason to, is that if you're in the outside section, is to send Mr. Bug and just fly around and see what's going on. Because it's cool. It's all a big one open environment. Really like that. And you can release some more water. You can interact with these, like, water buds a lot of different ways. Like, you got Mr. Bug, you got the claw shots, you got the slingshot, and you got the bow. And if they're low enough, you can interact with them with your sword and maybe your shield as well. But yeah, you more often than not, you'll probably want to use the claw shots because they don't waste any ammo and they're also very quick compared to Mr. Bug. And Mr. Bug, unfortunately, can't carry them anywhere. Anyway, apparently the Mogmas are being taken hostage or something, and being tortured or something. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but I do know one thing. I know that Link is a good person and he would never drop people into lava. That's just not in his character. Anyway, here's a minuscule small mechanic that isn't really used much, as you'll see after we open this chest. Okay, so this is a small little environmental puzzle, and I really like how they hint at the solution. They put little dust clouds, or dust piles at the bottom, which you use the Gust Bellows on. And then, you just continue to use the Gust Bellows on the molten rock, or whatever that is. And hey, solution. Rather than having Fee pop out and say, hey, Link, you can use your Gust Bellows on this. It's a much more organic solution. Overall, you'll use it like once more, I think, in the dungeon, so it's not that big a deal, but I mean, how much can you really do with it? Anyway, more droplet plants. You can slash at them if you so desire. And do one more thing, which you will see in just a minute. Didn't want to ruin the surprise, though. I guess the thing I like about this dungeon's aesthetic It's kind of like the ancient cistern, and that has some of the almost ancient Chinese kind of look, or ancient Asian, because, you know, I'm a gringo and don't understand other cultures. Oriental, how about it, to use an antiquated term. But it also has the indoor-outdoor thing, which is something I really liked in, like, Dragon Roost Island and Wind Waker. So you go from indoor to outdoor, and it'd be kind of diverse and interesting, rather than being really claustrophobic. It's nice. Anyway, the other thing that we can do with these droplet things is stab them like we stab pumpkins, and then fling them at stuff. It's very useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't have much of a combat purpose. I've tried throwing the droplet things at, like, the lava Zol gel things. Didn't do anything. One more, there we go. There are plenty of Bakalins here. If you need to tighten up on your sword play, this is certainly a place to do it. And here we go. Double trouble with these lava hands. They probably have an in-game name, but I can't think of it. And, I mean, I can't think of a pun either, so we'll just call them lava hands. Anyway, remember how I said that the buzz didn't have any combat purpose? Well, I kind of lied. Because, looky here... Oh, wait, no. Hold on. They do have a combat purpose for these specific enemies. And do that. Cool them off and shatter them to pieces. Pretty badass. It doesn't make a lick of sense from a physics standpoint. I mean, yeah, you're cooling the lava and it becomes more solid. Yeah, but the drop of water that honestly should be boiling right now. Anyway, once you take care of all the lava hands in a room, something magical will occur. The lava level goes down, and that opens up new wondrous pathways for you. And now we can successfully free that Mogma from his horrible constraints. Because we're good people who don't drop people into lava. By the way, note that you can see the bottom half of the Mogma's torso, or body in general, when he's suspended from lava and conversing like this. It's very weird looking. Anyway, get ready for the item of the dungeon. And I'm gonna have plenty to say about this item of the dungeon, hopefully. One thing that's nice is that these Mogma, as you'll see in about a second, these Mogma do have a plot reason to be here, because they're from the Mogmas and they give them to you. They're good about that. But it's an upgrade to a trivial little thing that I didn't really care for that much in the first place. As you saw in the description, it allows you to tunnel underground and go into these little maze sections. Which, I understand that they're a kind of a departure from the standard gameplay and an attempt at something new, as well as a new way of connecting different rooms and creating new puzzles that you probably couldn't have in the standard playstyle. But feeling trapped in these mazes is really claustrophobic, I guess, for me, and it just feels very restricting. And I always say that a good weapon, a good item rather, should be both a weapon and a navigational tool. This is just a navigational tool. Anyway, one vital thing that we will take care of a lot using the Mogma mitts is moving gates out of the way. Because now we can dig underground, and you see that there will be gate switches that move gates from one section to another. So hit that, and that gate will move out of the way, opening up a passage. And we will have progressively more complex puzzles involving those, but they never get too complicated, as far as I remember. Anyway, I was thinking, kind of in my La La Land fantasies, of, man, wouldn't it be cool if instead of the Mogma mitts, the item of the dungeon was a water pack, like the Flood from Mario Sunshine? Because there is a lot of using water to interact with the environment in various ways in this dungeon. You've got the water droplets, you got basically everything the water droplets can do, using it in combat against the lava hands, and using it as a navigational tool to make platforms or open up the passageways with the frogs. And it could have been a cool upgrade to the Guff Bellows. You got suck and blow, so to speak. But no, instead we got the Mogma mitts. Lame. But whatever, I'll take what I can get. Oh, hey, look, another one. You know, one of these days you're gonna have to figure out how to get out by yourself, because I'm not always gonna be here. But he promises a secret, so okay, sure. Anywho, the switch to lowering him down is on the other side of the room, separated by a wall that we can only get through by launching water into a frog, and in order to get to the water, we need to open up the gates to make the water bud droplet things accessible. So, we need to go underground. Long step-by-step process. Now, this here is basically the pinnacle of complexity for these puzzles, because, oh look, I pressed them in the wrong order. So now, I need to unpress this one in order to get to the other one. Oh snap. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. As far as I remember, there's nothing like having to hit one, go hit another, and then go back to hit the original in order to make the passageway work. It's just stuff like this. Now, that's not to say this is the only gimmick they have with the underground sections. They do have a little bit of combat later on in one actually pretty darn cool room that you'll see in the next episode. But overall, it's not incredibly thrilling, and the fact that you move incredibly slowly even when you're dashing just makes it feel very tedious. But again, it's a departure from the standard gameplay, and I kind of understand why they did it. So, stab that. Run on over here. Go through the motions. And he's free. I mean, it's still the matter of the chain itself, but whatever. Don't know how we got that off. You know, here I thought the Mogmas were a proud and honorable race of thieves. But I guess not. This had better be good, kid. Anyway, just a note, the next few minutes, had to be recorded in a somewhat different way on a different save file, so you'll see a couple visual differences, and my hearts and rupees will be different, but it's okay. It's for the best. It's much better than the alternative. Anyway, this guy has a wonderful, amazing, secret, unique prize for us. It's a dungeon map. Not to spoil anything. Oh, hello there, you're back. Hi there. I like you. You're like Shaggy. You better be sorry. No, you're cool. I like you. Anyway, yeah, there is a secret room here connected to this room. It's not very secret because they keep hinting at it, and it's like the only room of its kind ever. So it's not like it's setting up a precedent. So yeah, not really sure why they bothered to do that. But it is something of a throwback to previous Zelda titles in that you need to bomb a wall, a fake wall, in order to get through it. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but one thing that bugged me actually about this is the fact that normally in Zelda games, bombable walls sound different when you hit them with your sword. But here it sounds exactly the same. Just take my word for it. I mean, that's how you determined which walls were bombable in the older games. And they removed it. I can't believe they would do something like that. Anyway, another underground section. And our introduction to, as you will see in just a second, our introduction to underground combat. You have exactly one enemy that you will ever encounter underground, one type of enemy rather. And it's these long centipede, millipede-like things, wherein you hit the big bulbous thing at the end of their tails, and they will be taken care of. And when you hit them, they get angry, and if they see you, they will get angry. They're a lot like wigglers in that regard, except they're like armored. And of course, when they become shorter, they move faster, I believe. But overall, it would sort of work if you were like forced to navigate complex mazes while fighting them, like increasingly complex and difficult terrains that would make moving around and navigating and figuring out how to get to their backside more difficult. But you're pretty much always in the same arena, just kind of a varying size. A little boring. I mean, I don't want to be trashing on it. I'm trashing on them partly because I suck at fighting them. But I don't know. The whole tunneling thing leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And there's our key. And that wraps up the series of rooms, so let's get back to the outside. Actually, straight up backtracking through rooms this time. Okay, back to regular recording. Just want to note that there is a goddess wall on the little kind of ledge below this claw-shotting business. So if you're running low on hearts or fairies or rupees or other things, you can go down there and grab some stuff. I didn't feel the need at this point because I had other things on my mind, and there are 2 other goddess walls that you can get in this dungeon. Anywho, you'll remember this room. Oh, you fool, you forgot something. Yeah, there's one other thing I should have done before this, but oh well. Current thing on my mind. So that's stuff. I wanted to deal with this guy, but then I realized, oh whoops, I should have actually gone from the very top in order to get that lolly... I want to call them lollipop buds, but that's not at all what they are. Droplet buds. Because now that we have the Mogma myths, we can open up the gate that was previously blocking passage that you may or may not have seen. And that passage eventually leads to the droplet buds. But I got ahead of myself, as I tend to do. If I were a lesser man, I would say that I was demonstrating the frustration that one could encounter if one were to not realize what they're supposed to do, but I'm not a lesser man. Anyway, look at this incredibly complex puzzle. Oh man. Oh man. That was so difficult. Maybe they could have added in tiny little enemies that would, like, you would want to avoid in a stealth-like manner to make things a little more challenging, even if it wasn't hard to figure out. Anyway, now that we have the droplet bud, and that gate is open, we can go deal with the final lava hand that we were dealing with. And, of course, that will lower the lava level and permit us to access new areas. And there we go. Very nice. And this leads us to, actually, what I would call the real item of the dungeon. Because it's actually useful, I guess, is how I'd put it. It's another bottle! It's our 4th empty bottle, and oh my god, I was so happy. So much more useful than the Mogma mitts. Anyway, that more or less deals with everything in the first section of the dungeon. You can basically split the dungeon into two sections. You got this somewhat more indoorsy section connected by the outdoor paths, and then once you open a certain door, it gets into a noticeably different, much more larger outdoor section that you will see in the next episode. But for now, we have another key, and think back, way back, where do we still have a locked door? Of course, you could check the map if you're a weenie, but alas, that's not going to happen. Yeah, you'll remember there was a locked door at the bottom of that one lava pit. The first lava pit that we cleared out, the one with 2 hands. And the one where we got the digging mitts. Mogma mitts. Whatever. So we just gotta head over there, open that door, and we'll be well on our way to the next section. So, all we gotta do is go through this tunnel once again. Oh, and the rupees respawn, so apologies to those of you who don't like to watch me collecting mad money, but gotta collect all this mad money. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good way to farm rupees if you don't like Minesweeper or other various things. Yeah, once you do that, all you gotta do is mosey on over to this locked door, and I will see you guys next time for the second part of the Fire Sanctuary. By the way, this is why I needed to have an alternate recording for this part. Because this guy said the dialogue that the other guy was supposed to have, and then he has a little seizure later. And it happened because some cheat code that I had on to streamline the video experience caused this somehow. I don't really know. But hopefully it won't happen in the future, because I don't want this to happen to anybody else.